Call in, guys. Talk to me nice.
Welcome back to Sports Tea. Welcome back to Sports Tea.
Talk to me nice. Nice. Call in, guys. Talk to me nice. Call in, guys. Talk to me nice. Talk to me nice.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Sports Tea. I am so sorry about that technical difficulty. I was in a whole nother stream talking to myself for like 20 minutes and I was just like, how is there nobody here with me? So thank you to the twin T-Bird for letting me know. I could not believe that I just wasn't here for you guys. I was in a different stream, but anyhow, welcome on in. Welcome back to Sports Tea. So excited to see you guys. Today, we're going to talk about LeBron James not having a bag. We're going to talk about his comments on, mind the game surrounding the bubble. We are going to get into Rob Parker scorching the earth on the father-son duo. And then we're going to get into some playoff discussion surrounding OKC and the Pacers. It's going to be a really exciting show. Very happy to be back. I am probably going to be gone the next 2 days or so. I'm traveling this weekend, so should be back Sunday or Monday. I'm right after this live. I'm going to jump on a flight. So thank you so much for coming in. Guys, do me a favor before we jump in, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and share the video. Share the video on your social media and share it out with your family and friends. We really want to grow the Sports Tea community and blow it up big. So welcome on in, everyone. Thank you for joining. Happy Friday. And let's go ahead and jump right on in, okay? We're going to get into LeBron James, LeBirkin bag James. So he carries a bunch of designer bags, but actually has no bag on the court, right? And so LeBron talks with Steve Nash and Luka Doncic about what a bag even is. What does that even mean? And they talk about whether or not it's important to have in the NBA. So let's listen to LeBron's cap. And we'll go from there.
His bag, he's got this. What can he do here? What can he do?
What does it even mean?
Right. Bag of tricks. But think about it. You guys both you made a couple tonight, crazy shots. You made a couple tough fadeaways tonight. But the reason you guys are great players is because most of the time you can do the easy shit. Get to the rim, finish, make your free throws, make your open threes. Okay, then you get to the step back, boom. The game is won on making fundamental plays, not your bag, right? I know they don't talk about that in Europe when you're growing up.
Yeah,
right?
no, I never heard the thing bag since until I came to the NBA.
Right. And when I was growing up, it wasn't talked about it. Like the least amount of dribbles to get where you need to get to was what I grew up.
Efficiency.
Michael Jordan wasn't out there dribbling 1,000 times, to get to the spot. Get to a spot and raise. Isaiah Thomas, as great of a handle Isaiah Thomas had, Isaiah get to a spot and raise. All these guys that I grew up, Grant Hill, get to a spot. I'm bigger than you. Big Dog Robinson, I'm bigger than you. Allen Houston. All these great players, that I grew up watching and admiring. Penny Hardaway, yes, they could dribble the basketball, but it's no Tracy McGrady. Even as great as Tracy's handle was, it was, I'm bigger than you. I'm gonna get to the spot and at least amount of dribbles. Kevin Garnett, it's
good footwork.
Just good footwork. Get over the top. If I'm bigger than you and I get you on my shoulder, I get you on my hip, I'm gonna use my size. I see it all the time. It's like, I'll be on social media like LeBron has no bag. I'm sitting over here.
What is that?
LeBron has no bag, and I'm sitting like a 50 billion points.
Right, leading scorer all time in the NBA, no bag. That proves the point.
Yes, just play the game the right way, and I hope that our generation, our younger generation, don't get, swamped by saying, okay, I need a bag, I need a bag, I need a bag. Like, work on your game, know what you're going to be good at in order to help the team, and prove the next year to be a better player.
Right.
If you come in as a guy as my offensive game is not developed. Come in, you defend, you get extra possessions, you get extra rebounders for the guys. Okay, and then next year you work on your game in the offseason. It's only one or two, if you want to, 3 guys maximum. That's going to be handling the fucking ball anyways. Right. We don't need you to have a bag.
Right. Yeah.
It's only going to be, we have the luxury of having 3 guys, us 2 and AR, but not many teams have 3 guys that's going to be handling the ball like that anyways. You can make $200 million in the NBA if you defend and shoot a corner 3-pointer.
That's it, you're going to play.
LeBron. This is it's just a mind game, right? It's mind games. LeBron is just ridiculous, guys. The best part I thought was Luka just pretending like he doesn't know what a bag is. And I mean, he's a foreigner, so he can act like he doesn't know what that is. He knows by now. He played with Kyrie Irving, please. I'm glad that he just sat there, though. He sat this one out and he lets LeDribble completely embarrass himself, all by himself. All by himself. So LeBron sits there talking about how great players are that didn't require dribbles to score the ball. But LeBron's not skilled that way. So why even bring that up? You grew up seeing guys play like that, but you never adopted that. Getting to your spots. Where has LeBron dominated outside of the paint? I'm so confused. What spot does he get to without bum rushing the lane? Can someone point it out to me? I think it's difficult to do because not only does LeBron not have a bag, he doesn't have a spot on the floor either. He's got no bag, he's got no spots. LeBron James is like, his game consists of running full court, running over defenders, and bum rushing the lane. Let's be for real. That's his game for 22 years, guys. 22 whole years. When he wants to get his stats and score his points, he just grabs the ball, disregards his teammate, demands a high screen to bum rush the lane, whether it helps the team win or not. That's LeBron's game. And he mentioned T-Mac. I wonder why. He was an incredible one-on-one player. He's creating his own one-on-one league. And I played this clip for you guys before, but I'll play it again just for those who might have missed it. T-Mac just going on to describe that, LeBron James has no bag. He's not a one-on-one player because of it. So here's what he had to say. And, I'll play this for you guys again because it's just, it never gets old for me when LeBron James is sitting here talking about the game of basketball and all these other players, even guys that he just mentioned, sit there and talk about how he would get crushed.
Who do you think the greatest one-on-one basketball player of all time is?
It's hard to decipher that, man, because, if you look at LeBron, right, I think LeBron has been amazing for 22 freaking years, and he's been the best basketball player for, God knows how long. But if you put him in one-on-one, I think he'll get crushed.
Ooh, really?
Yeah. I think he'll get crushed amongst guys that are actually in NBA. And I'm sure LeBron will tell you that because his game is naturally built for a 5-on-5. He's not a one-on-one basketball player. Kobe is a one-on-one basketball player. Kyrie is a one-on-one basketball player. James Harden, these guys are one-on-one basketball players. And LeBron can't do anything with that. So I don't know. I just know, we always name the big name guys, but there's some guys out there that you don't think about that really can play one-on-one basketball.
I believe it. The attractive names are Kyrie Irving, James Harden right now.
Right.
But I'm sure there's tons of guys.
Yes.
I wanted to ask you this because this was huge on social media this week about Brian Scalabrine.
I mean, guys, so he can't play one-on-one, no bag to play one-on-one with, right? But he also can't shoot the ball. So it's just like, you don't have a bag. You can't get, what are you getting to a spot? Your shooting percentages are low. So you're getting to a spot. You get to your spots, but do you connect? What's the point of getting to your spot if you can't connect? I mean, Tim Hardaway doesn't mince words. I played this for you guys before. I'll let you guys hear it again.
One guy, you got really two guys on that team. They play defense. Well, one guy don't play defense at all, but and I'm talking about Luka. But I just think that first of all, he needs to get in shape. The shape that he needs to get in to stay healthy. The reason why he's not healthy is because he's not in tip-top shape that he could be in. He could still be what, 260 or 250 and still be in shape. Yeah. But you can't be 270 and thinking that you're carrying that extra pounds because that's hurting your calf. That's hurting your knees. But don't get me wrong. Luka's a great talent. But one-on-one, he's great talent. But team basketball, those are to you late. A shooter needs the ball when he's open because they count on getting that ball when he's open. Like Chris Mullin, when they open, I was like, gotcha. Because you're taking them out of rhythm when they expect the ball and they don't get the ball. For sure. And you taking them out of rhythm. That's another count that they wait. Then that they like, I didn't get the ball. So you give me the ball with 3 seconds left. I'm all out of rhythm. I'm supposed to have the ball 5-10 seconds ago. So that's what I'm saying.
So are the Lakers cooked?
I don't think they're cooked. I think that they I think they're gonna come down. I don't think they're gonna stay right where they at. Everybody was rah-rahing over the Utah Jazz. First of all, Utah Jazz, they was in the Staples. I mean, in they own arena. You see what happened when they went to Utah? They got blown out. I think they're gonna be in the playoffs. But I don't think they're gonna be the 4th seed or they're gonna stay in the 4th seed.
Are they gonna be champions
of what?
Of the world.
Wait. You don't think the Lakers
going to ring to the Lakers?
You don't think the Lakers going to stay top 5?
Ever? Like the Lakers ever?
In the next 2-3 years?
Does the Luka era of Lakers basketball lead to a championship? In the next 2 or 3 years? Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
What do you say?
LeBron is getting his 5th ring, so they're going to give him his 5th ring.
This is the NBA. This is it. Come on, you've been there a long time. Not this year, next year. Lakers chip, 2026.
I totally disagree. I don't think he's going to get a chip. They got to bring some more pieces around, which they, a lot of people don't. They sleeping on Finney Smith and his skills, his timing, 3-pointers, his defensive skills out there. So they got some pieces, but they need a big man that Luka can pass to, and I mean like a guy that can jump through the moon.
Yeah, they do.
They need that type of guy. Them two guys, they can't jump through the moon. Okay. They like David Lively, and Gafford.
They need some of those.
They need some of those guys.
So you talk about Dorian Finney-Smith. Gil calls him Black and Miles. Yeah, Black and Miles. Black and Miles.
Wait, so you taking?
Make sure you know who it was.
You taking like Houston over the Lakers?
Am I taking Houston over the Lakers? I'm taking OKC over the Lakers.
In the playoffs?
Yeah, in the playoffs.
What else? Who else?
In the playoffs.
Luka beat them by himself last year.
I'll take the Warriors over the Lakers. Hold on, wait. When y'all wait. Y'all saying okay.
I understand.
Is there some other guys on the team?
Which one?
On Dallas team that played some defense?
Yeah.
Okay.
For sure.
Okay, that's how they won. They stopped OKC from making shots. Luka can't stop nobody from making shots. Now, if you got a team that can stop you from making shots, and you go on the other end, and you got that one guy that can make shots, like Luka, like Kobe, like Michael. You see how they name LeBron because he can't do it. Or like Kyrie Irving.
Wow.
Or like Steph.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, Tim.
Okay. I like that. Yeah.
I'm just telling the truth. When I need a basket, I can't go to you. He can go to himself. Who do he go to for game?
He trusted
Kyrie
his
Irving.
teammates. He trusted his teammates. When you
No.
trust his teammates.
You always got to trust your teammates.
When people talk about being in shape and we say you're in shape, I don't think like people really understand that you don't know what it takes until you see someone better than you doing it, right? It's like,
I mean, I can't give the ball to LeBron James. He can't shoot it. I can't let him go out there and play one-on-one. We see how LeBron James has no bag. When you have no bag, that's why you can't play one-on-one. That's why you are not that great in isolated moments, in late game situations. There's a whole lot that LeBron James can't do, in my opinion, and we've seen it. I mean, when you take a look at, he says, oh, I've got 50 billion points. LeBron might be sitting there with 50 billion points, but no one thinks he has a bag. T-Mac doesn't believe it. Tim Hardaway definitely doesn't see it. And, there is another side of things, though. The paid media side of things, and they have a different take, obviously. Gil's Arena, they came through with a bunch of different things to fit a square into a circle, and this was just bad. This was all around bad. So I want you guys listen to them try to revise what having a bag actually means and try to make sure that LeBron is protected in all of this. So let's hear it. I mean, you already heard LeBron James essentially equate having a bag to dribbling. It's about dribbling. That's what he dumbed it down to. And Gil's Arena is going to do that too, but you're going to see they really cover all of their bases. They create this huge word salad and it just continues and continues. So I'm going to play this for you guys and let me know what you think from there, but let's hear it.
LeBron have a bag. Does he have a bag? I just think what he said is true. Like he just gets to where he got to get to. So that's his bag. I'm gonna make the game as easy as I can. And I think that's why he has over 50,000 points because he got to his 50 billion points. It's because he got to his bag and he got to the things that work for him. So it might not be flashy, it might not be all over the place, but his bag works for him and for what he's able to be great at.
Okay, now I'm gonna ask you, our defensive expert here on the show, does LeBron have a bag?
It's just to his point, he does what he does. It doesn't need to be 17 dribbles to go take the step back. Like it doesn't have to be. So to his point, like, yeah, it's good enough to get where he needs to get to and get the job done. So I'm gonna say, yeah, I agree with him, and he doesn't. Shit overrated, bro. Yeah. Like I agree, but it is really overrated. Like a lot of dudes that do all that shit shoot low percentages. Dude that dribble that motherfucker a lot shoot low percentages, though. Just look at history. If you dribbling the shit out of it, you gonna shoot low percentage. Like just what it is. So, yeah, doesn't need it, and he's an all-time leading scorer in regular season basketball, playoff basketball. So the ball go through the basket. That's all that fucking matters.
That's all that matters. Seriously.
So you don't need a Birkin bag. You can have
put them in the rim.
Put that motherfucker in a grocery bag.
But a grocery bag
still get that motherfucker from point A to point B. All that matters. Damn what the bag look like.
You agree with that sentiment?
I do. I agree with everything LeBron said. I think social media has a lot to do with like players today that they do stuff that they don't really have to do. Like, you can make one move and get by your defender, and because you beat your defender instead of taking the shot, you're gonna sit there and dribble, or pull it back out because you want to show that you got a bag. Like, what LeBron does is very efficient. It gets the job done. I love me a nice Birkin, by the way, but you ain't got to have one.
You can
Give me
get the fake one. It look real from a difference. From a distance. It look real.
Still work.
The zippers are a little janky, but nonetheless, still gets the job done.
It's stuck on the inside.
Ain't nobody gonna question it coming from you. You can carry fake. Ain't nobody gonna question it. Just not. Ain't nobody know.
I've been watching a lot of Chinese TikToks and they've been breaking down how the bags are made. Oh, we can get it to you for much lower. No tariff. We got the same shit over here. No tariff. No tariff. Let's get it to you 7 days.
That's why my shit stuck.
They cost 40,000. We can make it for 1,800.
They said out the front door. Hey, they want out the front door. We selling out the back door.
Yes.
So you hear what LeBron say about the whole bag talk. It seems like a more modern thing that's been added, but American Hooper's fascination, quote unquote, having a bag.
No, listen, he doesn't have a bag.
Bron does not have a bag.
No. No great has a bag. Did Kareem have a bag? Like, you know what a bag is? Okay, so this era says bag. Our era, a sports center player. He's the oohs and ahs guy. He's just there to try to get somebody to say, ooh, you know, was it the dollar move, 10-cent finish, that nigga, that's the bag today.
Yeah.
Where you have some trainer who wasn't good or decent as a player, learned a bunch of moves, and he's giving it to these kids, and these kids is coming out, we're gonna do this, we're gonna pop, we're gonna do the step back, we're gonna hold it, we're gonna fake, we're gonna do the spin.
All of that. But you can't make the
If you are good, you're not wasting your time doing that because it's just easier. Like if I'm fast, my dribble is not because I'm gonna use my speed.
Mm-hmm.
So the faster you are, the less dribbling you have because you just I don't need to sit here and try to cross you, I'm gonna just go by you.
Just
right? If I can jump over you, I don't need no other, I don't need to sit here and do this. It's just what's happening? Meet me at the rim, right? So the more efficient players have less because they don't need all the extra stuff to try to get you to shift left and right and move back to back. The slower you are, the less athletic you are, you need more attributes in your game to move people left and right.
You need all that.
Right? Like Luka needs to move you a little bit more versus Fox.
Just gonna go by. The chat currently exploited right now. You're saying that no great has a bag.
Yes. Well,
top four.
Steph does. Steph Other than him,
does Kyrie have a bag?
Kyrie has a bag.
We're talking about
Kyrie got a bag.
Kyrie has a bag.
Kareem, Magic, Mike, Bird,
Duncan,
them dudes. Like them dudes.
Carmelo,
Them the ones he's speaking of. Like
AI
John
have a bag?
Stockton.
AI, no.
Did AI have a bag?
We were giving AI flowers later in the show, but
he didn't need a bag, right? He had that crossover when he first came in, right? And then from there, all he used was speed and shifting. Most of his dribbles was 1-2 shot, come around, shot, crab dribble, shot. Like he was dip and dive. Like he wasn't
faster than y'all.
He was just faster. He was faster than everybody.
But but so everybody that Bron named, real simple, straight to it. 1-2 dribble, pull up, 1 dribble, pull up, 1 get you off your. It's real simple work. Some dudes like Big Dog, no dribble, right? It's all footwork, right?
That is
footwork
what focus on today.
Yeah, trainers
dribble.
Because that's how we grew up.
Step back,
Because they're focused on the highlight move that made it to the reel, right? That this kid is going to get excited about. Like, if I train you, and we're saying, all right, 1-2 dribble, pull up, 1-2 dribble, pull up. This is what we're going to perfect. To them, that's boring. You're a boring trainer. They need to come in here and touch a cone, grab a cone, throw the cone at me, grab it back, throw it around my head, shoot a shot on the one leg. You got to do all that shit for these stupid motherfuckers. Yeah. Hey, man, this shit ain't working in the game. That shit don't work.
Yo, this is what I used to go watch KJ. They do their little warm-up, layup package. I like, listen, dog. KJ ain't got to do all that, man. Hey, he get up there, he gonna do one thing with that motherfucker, bro.
Yeah.
He know what to do with it once he get up there. He not jumping around trying to go out. No, nigga, he finna go up there, motherfucking good luck.
His guard, and that's the problem with the trainers sometimes. Your guard teaching guard shit to very athletic guys. So you're making these very athletic guys play smaller than they're supposed to. So instead of like a Giannis using his length and his steps, you got 6'9" doing little shit like this and then coming in and cuffing it. And then by the time running the motherfucker, by the time they unravel all this 7'1" wingspan, man, give me that shit.
Like, as simple as we can put this, you guys, Carmelo Anthony did all this shit and didn't want to fucking dribble it. So all footwork, 1 dribble, 2 and he could dribble that motherfucker and didn't want to. Melo could dribble the shit out of the ball, but didn't want to. If he had to, great. But It's all footwork. He want to get you leaning. So you ain't got to dribble it if you don't.
Everybody has a different bag. Like their bag is very different from everybody else's bag. You know what I mean?
When you hear a name like Kyrie Irving, we would say Kyrie has a very deep bag, maybe the deepest bag in the league right now, but it's functional, right?
Because he's
it's a fundamental
smaller,
bag.
so he needs.
But I'm trying to get somewhere.
He need, like him said, they need this extra shit in there because there's giants on the court.
Yeah, they got to be.
So they need.
But even the layup package, Rob. But I need to do this.
I just can't shoot jump shots all day, like because people like I got to be able to get to that.
Yeah, I got to spin. I got to show you here. I got to throw it this way. That they need that to their game.
Like all them finishes and shit that Steph and Kyrie both have, man. Them floaters and throwing that bitch where the big can't get it. Like they need it. They need it because they can't go in that motherfucking and Anthony Edwards that bitch and like they don't have that. Like it's.
So is this
like even with Brandon, Brandon could go in that motherfucker getting it, but he was sneaky going in that motherfucker dunk that bitch like every now. So he had it, but you know if he got to the rim, like the possibility he gonna dunk that bitch.
Trying to hurry up.
Yeah.
Quick. Is there a height limit on having a bag like the guys 6 feet under versus guys like a Paul George, KD who also have very deep bags and ability obviously to get those spots?
It all depends on what you're considering a bag. Like when you say, LeBron doesn't have a bag compared to who, right? Because what happens is when we're trying to compare somebody, that's when someone say they use these words, he's more skilled than him. Like that is an attribute, like that makes you better because you're more skilled than me. Doesn't mean you're better than me.
Well, is it putting the ball in the bucket?
Yeah, that's the ultimate goal. Putting the ball
ultimate skill.
So I'm like, you're judging who's good off of how it looked. So his 10 points look good, but he has 40. But that's just boring. So you're gonna take the 10 looking good
over the 40.
Finger roll, nigga, you got 10.
When you say like having a bag is like bad for the game?
Yes.
Because
it's getting away from because when I came up, it was about fundamentals. Like you always heard the great players had great footwork, this and that.
Yeah.
But I feel like they putting this so much on having a bag and it's getting away from like how to really play basketball. Like
it's N1. N1 had a bag.
Yeah,
that's it, right?
Kids,
the biggest.
Yeah.
There's a lot of dribbling.
Everybody had to do what they did at AM1.
Yeah.
Because like Kawhi Leonard,
a lot of bad shots.
He don't really have a bag like that. But Kawhi Leonard, but he gets to.
Listen, to be great at anything,
but
it's good.
You have to perfect the.
Gil's Arena, man. They're killing me. Sheesh. I mean, like LeBron claims that he gets to his spots, right? But he's a dribbler with a poor shooting percentage to match. How are we just ignoring this? How does Gil's Arena just ignore this? Gil's Arena has to cap for LeBron. And I don't know if you guys saw that LeBron James made like a special clip for Gilbert Arenas. He talked about how special he was when he was playing, and Gilbert Arenas has responded, and it just seems like a quid pro quo. Like, hey, I'm going to congratulate you. I'm going to say nice things about you if you continue to cap for me and say nice things for me and be on my payroll, right? So it's just really interesting to me because, they're setting the stage for literally revising history, redefining what it means to even have a bag. Like they're just putting their own definition on what it means to have a bag. They're lying and they're trying to create like a word salad and cause confusion for their audience and even for their own damn panel. That's what it seemed. I mean, by the end of this, Gilbert Arenas didn't even know what he wanted to say. He went from saying all the greats don't have a bag to talking about how everybody's bag is different. So which one is it? Do basketball players have a bag or don't they? Which one is it, Gilbert Arenas? Stop contradicting yourself literally within a 10-minute span. I couldn't even believe Cheryl Swoops just sitting up there agreeing with them and LeBron. She was extremely skilled and she had a bag. A bag is not just about flash. It could be. And to one of their points, every player is different. They try to soften this conversation. They try to help LeBron clean up the narrative that he's just not that great of a player in one-on-one situations, late game situations, or really any situation that requires him to actually do something to win games. When it's up to LeBron, that's where we're critical of him. When there's no one else to rely on in those moments, that's where we criticize LeBron. That's where he's faced his most criticism, in my opinion. Just to be clear, and I want to be clear on something, a bag, when we talk about basketball, it's a collection, okay? It's a collection of things. It's a collection of unguardable moves, essentially, a signature move, perhaps, that your scoring is known for. So we call it a bag. It could be a crossover. It could be literally just moving your body a certain way. For example, it could be Michael Jordan's ball fake. You know, he could just palm the ball super easily in his hand, and he was really known for this ball fake that he would do. That doesn't involve dribbling, so it's not just as simple as dribbling. And I hate that we've made this conversation just so it lacks nuance, it lacks intelligence, in my opinion, and I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed in what LeBron has dumbed the conversation down to be, quite frankly. But yeah, I just think that LeBron, so like we call it a bag, but it's more formally known as a signature move. What are your moves? Right? Michael Jordan would say that Kobe Bryant might be the only player that could beat him one-on-one because he stole all of his moves. That's what a bag is. It's what moves do you have? LeBron James doesn't have a signature move. It's just one of the many things, in my opinion, that disqualifies him from the GOAT conversation. I think it's largely the reason why he can't play one-on-one, like I mentioned before. He won't play one-on-one, and he wouldn't be good at it because he has no bag, because he has no signature move. Nothing. LeBron's game it's based on momentum. It's based on running full head of steam down the court. It's not reliant upon what he's actually going to do. It's always predicated on exploiting or leveraging the strength of others in a very elementary system known as the LE system. The LE system relies on doing everything but mastering or being great at nothing. He gets to collect the stats and look really good on paper, right? But his teammates must do the grit and the real clutch work that's required when a game is on the line or when shots need to be made. He has no bag, no signature move. He can't shoot the ball. You know, LeBron James, he talks about his 50 billion points as if that describes whether or not he has a bag. I mean, he dismisses that a bag is even needed, but he, of course, still has one because of his 50 billion points. So which one is it? LeBron James contradicts himself with a whole word salad about this elusive bag that he doesn't have. Then you have Gil's Arena contradicting himself about LeBron James' bag. LeBron James doesn't have a bag. Then all the greats don't need one. But then everybody's bag is different. Then LeBron James does have a bag. It's just different. But LeBron doesn't actually like really get into it and talk about what a bag actually is. He never defines it, since both Luka and Steve Nash are foreign, you know, Nash being from Canada. So, you know, he's still very much so integrated in the US. There was no one that was going to challenge the fact that LeBron having a bag or not having a bag. There was no one that was going to sit there and challenge him about dribbling the goddamn ball, the air out of the ball. He dribbles the air out of the ball. So what is he even talking about getting to a spot without that many dribbles? Are you kidding me? Does he expect that we have amnesia, or he's insulting NBA fans by just assuming that we don't watch these games and all we watch is the highlights, so he can just get on there and say literally anything? It's not just about dribbling. It's about having unguardable moves that help you win. It's about what you do with the ball to score the ball. Like I said, it's, you know, MJ's palmed ball fake is a really good example. It's awesome. It doesn't involve dribbling the ball, but it's a move he uses to outsmart the defense and score. It primarily, it refers to what you do to, you know, in isolation or one-on-one situations. But LeBron is literally using Mind the Game to infect the youth with bad analogies, false narratives, and gossip. He's never minding the game. He's always clapping back at what somebody said about him. This is nothing more than a gossip column. Steve Nash should be ashamed of himself for being a part of it. He really should. I don't think that Steve Nash should feel great about this. He's clearly after something, and I'm curious as to, what it actually is. I'm sitting there with 50 billion points. Really? I'm sitting there with 50 billion points. This is what he says. And Luke is just sitting there. I think he's got secondhand embarrassment from the whole thing. That's why he just sat this one out. I don't really know what a bag is. I'm foreign. I just got here. But I would be remiss if I didn't also let you guys know that there's more people defending LeBron. So it's not just Gil's Arena. There's a current NBA player who's come out to LeBron's defense. Guys, that's Giannis Antetokounmpo, who I think his game is somewhat modeled after LeBron's. Hey, I'm just going to run this ball down, bum rush the lane, run over defenders, travel into the paint, carry the ball over my head into the paint while I take about 10 steps into the paint. But this is what Giannis had to say. He made a tweet and he says, if there are people out there that believe that one of the greatest players to ever be on earth has no bag, ... man, I've seen it all. I mean, I guess you have seen it all, Giannis. Have you seen it all? Have you seen what a bag actually looks like? Has he seen it all? Hakeem Olajuwon had a bag. It's just really interesting to me that LeBron just got so much support over this from Giannis in Gil's Arena. But it's been widely reported that he's got no bag. I mean, Gilbert Arenas just said he doesn't. So I'm curious to know from you guys, like, what's the story? Does LeBron James have a bag or not? What is the deal? Can you guys call it? I can't. We don't know. Seems we clearly don't know. It's a mystery. LeBron's elusive bag. I know that he's got a Birkin bag. I know that he's got a Speedy. Le Speedy. Le Birkin. That's what I see. But I don't see that LeBron James has a bag on the court. So, argue with your mama if you will, but it's not going to be with me. I don't see the bag, guys. I really don't. And I don't think bag is subjective either, young disciple. I think that when we don't meet a standard and when we don't meet the criteria, we try to fit a square into a circle. Bag has never been subjective before. But now all of a sudden, because LeBron James has entered the chat and the conversation on it because he doesn't possess a bag, now we're just going to change what it means to have it. So I'm really, it's an interesting discussion. It really, really is. And, LeBron, a lot of the things that he says, I think, come under fire because most of it is self-serving, similar to what he said about the bubble just recently. And it brings me to the next topic where, LeBron James essentially is saying that the bubble title was the hardest to win. It was the hardest of all of his titles. He says a lot, guys. He talks about what it was like to play in the bubble. Him and Steve Nash spend some time on that. LeBron James was giving advice. He was giving advice to OKC and to the Pacers about winning in the finals. He was giving some advice about that and to really just to keep the main thing. And that was the only thing, and I'm not going to play that for you guys, but that was the only thing that LeBron James said in this episode that I actually appreciated. I appreciated him referring back to his time with the Miami Heat, referring back to his time with Pat Riley and, the advice that Pat Riley gave and the fact that he did listen to someone who was a winning, a proven winner at some point. So, I'm grateful to hear that. He talked about keeping the main thing. Focus on the basketball, nothing else. So I thought that that was really a great thing that he said, but I wish that it was actually true. I wish that LeBron James followed it. That's what I wish. But again, he talks about the bubble. Steve Nash asked him about it. So, he says, talk to me about the bubble. And LeBron James just talks about some of like the conditions of which that they played under. And I have 2 sound bites, and, one of them is really long, but I'll try to just kind of cut it off where I see fit. But he talks about the conditions of the bubble. And I want you guys to hear it because it's important surrounding some of the salient points that I'm going to make in this segment.
Facts. That's a fact.
Tell me a little bit about the bubble. Like the bubble's the bubble. I'd love to hear that, but like then playing the finals in the bubble, where, like you literally are going back to the same hotel, or maybe 2 different hotels on the same property. Or?
Was the Heat? And I don't know. I think the Heat was in our hotel.
And so like you're getting on a bus right next to their bus, and you're like literally going back to the same place. And
going back to the same place. You every morning you have to get tested in the morning. You might bump into them in the courtyard when you're eating. That's another part of like that's like some mental warfare.
Right.
It's another level of being even more. It's no escape. It's like, okay, I've battled this guy. He's pushed me. He's cursed me out. It's a physical game. And then when it's time for me to finally relax and go back and have a glass of wine, I'm bumping into this guy in the elevator.
Right.
And it's like,
you got to ride up with him.
I got to ride up 440 floors to get up to my room. It's another set of mental warfare. And it's like, who's going to be the one who's going to be the one to fall? Who's going to blink? You know, and like, that was a very challenging, difficult thing because you just don't want to be around the competition until I get on the floor.
Yeah, you want to save it for the when it counts.
You want to save it for when it counts. So that's exactly what it was. So different and challenging for sure.
And you said your family came to that, the whole thing, or
no, my family didn't come to the whole thing, but they, during the bubble, they had to be there at least a week to quarantine, and then they were able to. So they were there. You had to be there like a week before they could even see us.
So they're in their rooms for a week just to be able to come to a game.
Yeah,
they couldn't come out of their room.
Nope, and it was off campus too. It wasn't even in the property where we were. They stayed off campus, so they would have to be there for a week to 10 days in their rooms. They have to stay with their parties that was over there who also came down at the same time, and that was so you had to bring them in like 2 weeks beforehand before the games even started. Yes,
and practicing in the finals. So like the media had to quarantine, were they there or was that all on Zoom?
No, they were there. Media was there too. So they had to quarantine as well.
On the court media day type stuff with the media in person.
Yeah, with the media in person. They only allowed a certain amount of media members in. Mm-hmm. So you would sit down like I'm sitting down right now, and there would be a camera set up for the people that was not invited to be there on Zoom, and then other beat writers. Just like they let the local beat writers in person. Yep, the ones that was quarantined. Yep.
And for practice, are you busting over the court, or is there other courts in the building?
No, they set up a court. They set up like 5 courts inside of the hotel where we stayed at. Ballrooms. Yep, they brought in the court and everything. So you would literally go down. You have your time slot. And it's funny because right after practice, you have to be off. You can literally be walking out of practice and walking right past the team that you're about to play.
Even with 5 courts, so let's talk about you and the Heat. You guys had your own practice court for the finals, or were you?
Yeah, we had our own practice court. Cool. Yes, yeah. So once you lost, if you didn't advance, then you're gone. You can leave. You're going back home. So once it got to us versus the Heat, there were different rooms, different ballrooms. So they had their main floor court, and we had ours on the other side of the hotel. But like I said, you could still bump into a guy. If I came downstairs for dinner and I wanted to go to the courtyard where they had served food or whatever, or if I wanted to go to another restaurant that they had, I could literally bump into the guy and I'm about to compete for a championship with tomorrow night, which is.
So how many? Yeah, are you kidding me? How many? Like that's like you said, that's mental warfare.
Mental warfare.
How many restaurants were in there? Like, were you sick of the food? You were there for 2 months or whatever. Like, how long?
I was there for 96 days.
3 months.
Yeah, I was. I would never forget. Oh my goodness, I was there for 96 days, and there was one restaurant where it was outside that was called Three Bridges, but that didn't open until like after the first 6 weeks that we was there. So the only place that they allowed us to go to,
something different.
The only place they allowed us to go to was a restaurant inside the hotel. It was kind of like a little sports bar, that was in the hotel. They opened it up after like 2 weeks. After we had everybody quarantined, we would go downstairs, and it was like a sports bar. They had the TV set up, all the games that was playing in the bubble, all the the regular season games that we had to finish, and then the playoffs. And you would go down there and you could order a little food, and watch the game, just to get out of the room. And that's all we actually wanted, was to get out of the damn room. So yeah, that's all. It was only like 2 places, places.
Of all the things, being in a bubble for 96 days, I think about the food. Like, how do you get it just something different all the time, and like how that would play a toll on you?
Oh man, it played a toll on my body for sure. Because I eat so a set regime about what I eat, especially during the playoffs. You just it was certain quality of food and certain quality of produce and greens and things that I know that has my engine running. That it was not available to you. And so you just had to figure it out. You had to figure it out.
And what about that's crazy. 96 days, finals, looking for a ring, and it's the same garden salad. Right. So what about like shipping stuff in? Like, was there something that you remember I had to ship it in? I don't know. I'm not talking like contraband. I'm just talking like a books or video, like stuff.
I took books with me. I took my video game with me. Yeah. But one thing I did ship in, I ordered a wine freezer.
Okay. Yeah.
Wine fridge. And I ordered a bunch of fucking wine.
There you go.
I promise you. Yes, I kept me. I have a photo in my phone that I'll show you one day.
Yeah.
Of all, and after I drank the wine, I would just sit them and line them up on the floor of my room, side by side. Keep the cork in a little container. That was my priority. I would get up every single day. I would play my video game. I would stretch in my room. I would go down to practice. I would do a little reading in my meantime. I would call home. Because they wasn't there for, family couldn't come for like the first 6 to 8 weeks. And then at night I would open up a bottle of wine. Yes, that was it.
It's like Castaway vibes.
It was like Castaway vibes, yeah, man. And then it got to a point where they started allowing us to get out of the rooms. At one point, you were only really supposed to have like 1 or 2 guests in your room, like your teammates. Mm-hmm. We kind of broke the rule one time and we just squatted in everybody's room and like played cards. And one thing about it was definitely a crazy bonding experience because it was just us.
Mm-hmm.
Even when you travel on the road during the finals or during the playoffs, you don't really go to each other's rooms too much. Everyone has their regiment, whatever the case may be. But in the bubble, you had no choice. It was literally just us. It was you and your teammates. And the coaching staff was there. It was like, bro, can I pull up, bro? Come have a glass of wine with me.
Again, we gotta do something.
Yeah, bro, we gotta do something. My kids are not here. My wife is not here. I'm about to pull up to your room. What you doing? Nothing. Same thing I did yesterday. Same thing. So it was a mental. Oh man, if you couldn't sustain your focus and your mental waver a little bit, then the bubble was definitely not for you. It was not for you.
Well, it's a king's flex to have a wine cellar in the bubble. So kudos to you. Kudos to you for that.
I needed it.
I'd have been right there with you.
Yeah, for sure.
The king's flex. I mean, I know that was a long clip, but I wanted to hear you guys. I wanted you guys to hear LeBron James just sort of sit there and complain about his life during COVID. He had food. He had restaurants. Not only did he have restaurants, but he had so many resources that nobody had during COVID. Nobody. I thought it was absolutely disgusting. Okay? I thought it was absolutely disgusting how LeBron James complained about not having the exact produce that he normally eats. That was your biggest problem during the bubble? That's what made it the hardest title to win? Something that really stood out to me while LeBron was, complaining about all of his amenities and things like that, something that really stood out to me was him kind of talking about the competition. He talks about the competition. And before we even talk about that, I mean, how hard could it have been in the bubble for NBA players? How hard? You get to make millions of dollars playing during COVID. You got to stay at a Disney resort, custom made hotel rooms, custom beds. We're supposed to feel bad that they couldn't live their regular lavish lifestyle, even though they were still able to live lavish. I thought it was ridiculous. I'm not going to lie. I really did. And it's so ridiculous to me because LeBron James, he had privilege during that time. He had more privilege than anyone, even in the NBA. He was given special treatment. He was allowed to go to an event, I believe, with Drake and violate NBA COVID protocols that other people were punished for violating. LeBron James is completely full of shit. Absolutely ridiculous. But when he brings up the competition and how that was a whole nother level of psychological warfare because you might pass them in a parking lot on your way to get your breakfast or to get your COVID test. You might run into somebody when you're getting your COVID test. It was so psychologically taxing for him. I mean, when you think about the kind of competitor that LeBron James is, that is not one of the best competitors that I've heard talking. That's not what I want to hear from one of the supposed greatest competitors, the supposed GOAT. We're supposed to believe that LeBron James is the GOAT talking like that when he can't even go get a COVID test next to his competition? He's scared of that? That's psychological warfare? I want you guys to listen to Scottie Pippen talk about Michael Jordan and what kind of competitor he was. I want you guys to hear this.
I will say Michael, he was built different, competitive 24/7, willing to compete at any level and at anything. When you look at these players in today's era, being LeBron, there's really no comparison. When you talk about the level of competitiveness, Michael bunched up all of his competitiveness and sort of exposed it out to the world within 12 to 14 years. We saw his whole resume, his competitiveness, his drive, his will to win, what he's want to do. If someone like LeBron has to spread that out for 20 plus years, it's not the same drive. It's not the same fight. It's not the same hunger. And so when people try to make those comparisons of those two players, it's like talking to someone in the front seat and the back seat. They ain't even in the same lane.
I couldn't agree more. They're not in the same lane. They're nowhere near. Right? I mean, the competitiveness. And by the way, I just want you to know, Scottie Pippen said that during his interview with what's his name? Patrick Bet-David. He talked to him and it was a scathing interview. I mean, Scottie Pippen hates Michael Jordan now. And that's what he had to say still, that it's really no comparison between Michael Jordan and LeBron James. And I know that Scottie Pippen has been all over the place with his criticism of Michael Jordan because he's so angry with him. But when it comes down to it, when he searches himself, when he's asked the question man to man, face to face, he's got to tell the truth. And he did. And, you know, he's not going to compromise himself that way just to dig at Michael Jordan. And trust me, he's taken a couple digs, right? He wrote that book. In this interview, he talked about how he had no relationship with Michael Jordan. They never really did. But he wasn't going to sit there and lie for LeBron James. He just wasn't. And it's probably because LeBron James is not giving him his flowers. And that doesn't sit well with him either. So the bottom line is that Scottie Pippen views it as no comparison. And it's just based upon the kinds of competitors that they were. I'm not mad at it. But LeBron James continues on Mind the Game to discuss how somehow the LeMickey ring, the bubble title, was the hardest. That was the hardest, most difficult title that he's ever had to play in and win. So I want you guys to hear what he has to say about the bubble ring and how impressive he believes that it is based upon certain factors.
Some people say it's like the purest form of basketball, being in the bubble, like this experiment in a way. And then others are like, oh, it's not real. At the end of the day, like you're human beings competing. It doesn't matter if you're competing on the moon or in the bubble.
I agree with a lot of people say when it's the purest form of hoops, like it was strictly basketball. Like it is no, you know, we're all like, you know, have the ability to do whatever we want in life. You know, we've made a bunch of money. We have all the access, you know, that's gone in the bubble. You can't just, you know, oh, I'm about to go to a restaurant or I'm about to do this or I have this. You can't do none of that. Like everything in the bubble was strictly about basketball. And obviously we was there, you know, talking about a lot of the off the court things that was going on, you know, social injustice and police brutality and stuff, all that, rightfully so. But when the basketball portion was the focus, you know, that's all it was. Like of all my championships I've won, that level of focus, like how long can you maintain your focus in order to get the job done? Because you have all the reasons if you want to get out of focus because you're so accustomed to a certain lifestyle that you like, the hell with this. Like, I don't want to do this. Like, why am I here? Like, I don't want to be a part of this. Like, this is not what, you know, I can't get a certain meal. I can't do this. I can't see my family. I can't lock in on like, you can very easily get out of why you're there.
Guys, again, it's just so crazy to me that, you know, LeBron James says these things. And, you know, out of this soundbite, a couple things stood out to me, but I would say, you know, the first thing that really stood out to me when LeBron James talks about the bubble was how he says it was about pure basketball. It's the purest form of basketball. besides the social justice stuff, as if that was nothing. It wasn't just about basketball in 2020. People didn't even watch. It was about all these other issues, and the NBA made it about all these issues. The main thing definitely wasn't the main thing. Let's just say that. Social justice was huge. It was a huge issue in the NBA during that time that caused some of the best players to sit out and not play. LeBron exploited that in order to win the title that year. If he sat out in support of the other stars who wanted to take a stance, he wouldn't have another title. If they were that good enough to win, right? So they won that year. They won in the bubble, and it was such a hard title to win. It was the hardest ever. But if their team was that good enough, right? If their team was actually that good enough, why didn't they repeat? Why didn't they even make it past the first round in the next season? How? How is that possible? They would have repeated the following year since the next season was so much easier. The next season was so much easier to compete in, right? That's what LeBron James says. So why didn't they just win? Or at least, like I said, be more than a first round knockout. That's my problem with that. I mean, LeBron also talks about the level of focus needed to win, as if you shouldn't be focused all throughout the year, just the NBA finals. But you need focus in every finals to win. What is he talking about? You need focus every finals. The lifestyle, you couldn't just do what celebrities get to go out and do. You're complaining about restaurants. LeBron James is completely full of it, guys. If he would have said that the 3-1 comeback was the hardest to win, I wouldn't be criticizing him, but LeBron James is absolutely full of it. The Lakers beat the Heat in 5 games. How was it the hardest title he ever had to participate in? How? The purest form of basketball. That comment makes me the most mad. You want to know why it makes me mad? Because there were no fans present for any of these games. No fans. No matter where you're playing, whether you play in the street, you could be playing in the big park on Lenox Avenue, you could be playing in Dyckman or in the NBA. No matter where you play, there's going to be fans. There's going to be an audience. Somebody's going to be watching on the sidelines. I promise you that, or in the stands, wherever. Basketball, it's consumed. And it's meant to entertain people. That's what it's meant to do. How could it possibly be pure without the fans? How? LeBron James proves time after time that he just doesn't even appreciate the fans. That's what he tells us, guys. He's telling us, hey, I don't care about the fans. I don't care about what you think. And he's let us know this so many times throughout the course of his career, over several years. He's always insulting us. He's always saying that we shouldn't even have an opinion and that we don't even deserve to have an opinion. For him to not even acknowledge that there's no fans and that we're part of the game too, to me, it's just a huge oversight and shows that LeBron James is extremely tone deaf. It just shows how tone deaf he really is. He's delusional, just like his fans. It's bad enough that he tries to relate to the everyday person with these dumbass stories about COVID that prove that he actually can't relate. He's always crying about being a victim when he's just not. Nothing was hard about the bubble title. Not a goddamn thing. It's not impressive. I won't say it doesn't count. I'm not going to say that. But most people don't count the bubble ring. I don't blame them personally. It's just not that impressive. No one even watched. More people watched Michael Jordan and The Last Dance than they did LeBron James in the finals in 2020. And that's just facts. Nobody cared about LeBron in the finals. What do you guys think? Was the bubble ring impressive? You have an asterisk. I'm with you. It's definitely an asterisk. The NBA counts the title, and a lot of people count it, but a lot of people don't. Most people don't. Even LeBron James fans, especially Laker fans. Laker fans don't consider that to be a title that they're proud of or that they even want hung in the rafters. So, I don't know. Yeah, technically it counts. It's just not revered. And the question is the bubble ring impressive? That's the question. But LeBron James manufacturing his legacy is nothing really new, right? It's not a new thing. It's not something that we are surprised that he does. I mean, he's done it for himself. He's now doing it for his family. Bronny James is in the NBA. He's playing for a storied franchise like the Lakers. He gets to have that as part of his legacy. It's manufactured. We all know that he shouldn't be there. He doesn't belong in the NBA, let alone on the Lakers. And, the next topic we get into Rob Parker going completely scorched earth about this, and really how this came up for me and why I'm talking about this again is because Rob Parker was very upset because basically Austin Ainge, who is the son of Danny Ainge, he has a very high-ranking position on the Utah Jazz. So I believe he's the assistant GM to Danny Ainge in the Utah Jazz. And so obviously that's a form of nepotism, giving your child a position, part of the organization. It's definitely not right. I think that it's wrong to do that if he's not qualified. If Austin Ainge is qualified, which I don't know his experience, but what I do know is that he's had quite a bit of experience, floating around this sort of this kind of work. So he's had nothing but jobs connected to basketball, and they've all been through his father's connections. So he's got some experience. I don't know how qualified he is for this particular role, but he's there. And I think that the Utah Jazz should have chosen the best candidate, not necessarily Danny Ainge's son. That's my opinion on that. That's my same opinion for LeBron James and his son, but it is very, very different. And so Rob Parker he wants to talk to us about that. And him and Kelvin get into a heated debate over Bronny and LeBron playing together and how it's different and doesn't correlate to Austin Ainge at all. So I'll play it for you guys and then we'll react together.
Athlon Sports about Bronny James. And during the conversation, he said, quote, that he expects Bronny to be a regular in the rotation next season. 10, 15 minutes, talked about his offseason growth from summer league to start of the season to the end of the regular season. So he's expecting that Bronny is going to be getting regular minutes with the big club next year. What's interesting about that is Bronny, soon as he was drafted, became the poster child for nepotism in sports. Well, flash forward to yesterday, Monday, news broke out of Utah that Danny Ainge, the CEO of the Utah Jazz, has hired his son, Austin Ainge, to be the new president of basketball ops. Now, you think that might be a coincidence, except every major basketball-related job that Austin Ainge has ever had in his career has been with his father. So, guys, here's the question. Why is it that Bronny James is the poster child for nepotism while Austin Ainge seems to fly under the radar?
For me, this goes back to the conversation we were having when Bronny was drafted. I completely can understand people's frustration. He wasn't even that great in college. I understood that. I got it. But the idea that LeBron James, what he's meant to the league, what he means currently even to the league, would not help his son get drafted, to me was crazy. And I mentioned then, it happens all the time. It happens with coaches. It happens with guys who are behind staffers, in the executive offices. It happens with lawyers. It happens with so many people. That's just part of life, literally. It can be, hey, I went to college with Bob. Bob is now a lawyer. My son wants to go to a law firm. Hey, Bob, take care of my son. That's just a part of life. They also say your net worth is sometimes and most often determined by your network, meaning where you're going to go depends on who you know. And so to me, I just think that was kind of par for the course. And we had the opportunity again, if you're talking about with Bronny, the 55th pick, which doesn't often amount to anything, why not give him a shot if you were the Lakers? So to me, I didn't quite understand the outrage. If he was a lottery pick, I'd be like, oh, I totally get it. All right, settle down. He's not all that. If he was a top 10 pick, a top 20 pick, but the 55th pick didn't really bother me. And again, my point then was, Rob, this happens all the time.
No,
in life.
no, it doesn't.
And it
no,
happens.
it doesn't.
It happens.
It does
literally
not.
just happened
It's
right there.
It's the craziest thing I've ever heard between working a job where people do nepotism is bad. So I'm the first one to say it. What Danny Ainge is doing is bad. Nepotism is bad. A lot of companies won't even allow it because it is bad. I don't believe the Utah Jazz should hire Danny Ainge's son. So I'll be the first one on the record. But when it comes to athletics and you having to compete to get on the field, the reason that this country is 70% white and the NBA 75% black is because you have to earn your way onto the field. Okay? If NBA owners wanted to do it and put white guys on the league and say the country's 70% white, I don't care how good black players are. I'm just going to hire white players because those are the people who are buying the tickets and coming to the games, and I don't care. No, sports has never been that once they've decided that they were going to allow black people to compete fairly and honestly, once they broke the color barrier. So it's a disservice to everybody who puts on a uniform who has to compete. Michael Jordan owned the damn team. He didn't put his two sons on the team. He could have. Jerry Jones owns the Dallas Cowboys. He could have put his sons on the team and said, what does it matter? They're only the last guys on the end of the bench. People would be outraged. It's a disgrace. Anybody who's ever played sports and had to compete for a spot, for a guy to put their kid on it, it happens all the time, and it's wrong. It's wrong in Little League. It's wrong in high school. It's wrong in college, and it's wrong in the pros. Anybody who's honest, the only reason that people didn't go out and go off on LeBron is because he's a star. And they don't want the wrath or be able to say, well, LeBron stopped me from doing this, or I can't get tickets to the Lakers, or like they're afraid. If this was anybody else, if this was anybody other than LeBron James, he'd be ridiculed trying to get his son in the NBA. We saw it down with Urban Meyer trying to get Tim Tebow a job as a tight end, right? His next door neighbor, his friend. And the player said, F no, he's no good. There's 20 kids in college who played tight end who deserve that job. And what happened? Tim Tebow didn't get a job because it wasn't right. And Bronny's not right, and he proved this year he's ready? He's not ready for the NBA. He's a marginal player at best. I refuse to sit here and act like it's okay. It ain't the same thing as a job. If I own a store or I own something, that you people hire people all the time. It still ain't right. I just said that from the jump. Okay. Nepotism ain't right. Okay. Unless you own a family store and you can hire whoever you want if it's your business. You can.
Well, first off, the Lakers are a family business.
Tim Tebow didn't get a job because it wasn't right. And Bronny's not right, and he proved this year he's ready? He's not ready for the NBA. He's a marginal player at best. I refuse to sit here and act like it's okay. It ain't the same thing as a job. If I own a store or I own something, that you people hire people all the time. It still ain't right. I just said that from the jump. Okay. Nepotism ain't right. Okay. Unless you own a family store and you can hire whoever you want if it's your business. You can.
Well, first off, the Lakers are a family business. Let's start there. The Lakers are a family-run business. Also, the best part about it is you're acting as if you couldn't name me 3-4 players that came out of that draft. Do you know how many players in that draft we'll never hear from again?
I want you to name me another player who put their son who wasn't worthy. Name one.
I just let you talk.
Name one. You can't. You can't. It's never been done.
I just let you talk and yell. You done? Okay, thanks. So you can't name me another player in that draft outside of 1 or 2 players. The draft was not good. There were not great players, and especially in the second round with a bunch of guys who we will never hear from again. So that happens all the time where you get a guy who's not that great and you're taking him on potential or you're taking him on some type of connection. That happens all the time. So to act as if that's some anomaly, it's not. You know how many second round picks are nothing but hopes? This kid's coming from this country. Well, he's 6'8". We're hoping he might grow. He's only 19. He might grow 3 more inches, and you take him on a whim. You never even seen him play basketball. And it happens all the time. So the idea that the Lakers don't do a solid to their star player and go get a kid who is his son, who played locally here at SC. Well, that is crazy.
Did he play, or was he on the team?
He did not. He did play, number one. He did
not play well. And he did not play well.
Why didn't
that
he?
wasn't
Why
worth
didn't
it.
he?
I don't know. He came back and played. I know he had an incident. But
exactly.
That doesn't,
so he
that
had
might be
an
the reason.
incident. So you're saying, I know he's better than what we just saw.
No,
he's
I don't know that. I don't know that.
You know he's better than what we just saw.
No, I don't know that.
So the fact that if it's a big deal, but when Danny Ainge does it,
it ain't the same. It ain't the same.
It's exactly
it ain't the same because you have to try out for the on the field.
You know what it's called?
When
you know anything is called an audition. It's called an interview.
No, it ain't.
You have to audition and interview.
I'm telling you what Danny Ainge did is wrong. I'll tell you that. Okay,
that's fine.
Not what Jerry Jones did. Jerry Jones owns the team. He has a right to hire his family if he owns the business. LeBron doesn't own the Lakers.
The Lakers are a family business.
No, LeBron doesn't own the Lakers. He didn't do right.
They
did
chose
a
to do right by their
disservice.
guy.
It's disgraceful.
I can't.
It's disgraceful.
And I'm blown away that you actually are that bad about something that is disgraceful. There's a million and a half things we can talk about disgraceful in this country or things that go on. That's not
Nepotism.
Not one of them.
That's what stopped black people from getting jobs forever. We could never get into places because people were hiring their cousins and their friends. I'm talking from experience, man. It ain't right.
Well, if you want
it ain't right.
If you want to go,
and it ain't right with LeBron and Bronny. Okay. It ain't right with Danny Ainge and his kid. It ain't right. I told you when Bill Belichick hired his kid down in North Carolina. It ain't right.
Okay, so that's gonna happen for eternity because people hire people they know. Duh. Just like you get so many people internships, people you know. Hey, I know a kid who looks hard. You have a great opportunity. You throw him a lob.
They're not related to me. They're not related. My nephew does not work at Fox Sports Radio.
I don't know what he wants to do. I don't know what your nephew wants to do. What I'm saying is you know people and you throw a lob.
They're not related to me.
That's a part of life.
It ain't the same thing. It's wrong.
Part of life.
That's why there's a lot of companies you can't hire relatives for that reason.
That's fine. But
why do they do that then? If it's fine, why do you think they do that? I'm asking you.
I'm saying it has happened from the beginning of time.
No, why is there company policy? Explain it to me. Why would it be? Yes, you do. Why can't you have sex with people?
No,
I'm asking you.
I don't know how we got there.
Yeah, because you know what? How many people have lost jobs because they have sex with subordinates? It's the same thing. Why is that legislated?
I don't know how that is the same thing at all. It is. Wielding your power to have sex with somebody is not the same as hiring somebody I know at all.
It's the reason that you shouldn't do it because you also alter other people's lives at the job by doing stuff like that. It's not fair. Someone worked their whole life for an opportunity and you hire their son. I don't think I would feel good about that.
Okay.
He doesn't think he'd feel good about that. I mean, what I don't feel good about is this. I don't feel good about the results of this, right? So we all knew that Bronny was going to be in the league. We knew that. I don't feel good about the plus minus. I just don't. I don't feel good about LeBron James being an all NBA player, the first in NBA history to have a negative plus minus. I mean, that's crazy. So it's LeBron is just being given things, right? He's not earning them. His son is not earning them. To me, this isn't about Danny Ainge and his kid. They're not playing an athletic sport. You cannot pass down athletic success, but you can pass down a business. But I don't think that Danny Ainge, I don't think that his son belongs in that organization if he's not qualified. And I don't know what his qualifications are. I've known that all he's ever worked in is in basketball. He's worked in basketball. That's what I know. So I think he's probably closer to being qualified than Bronny is to being qualified. But again, I'm sure and certain that there's someone more qualified than Danny Ainge's son. Danny Ainge is doing a fantastic job with the Utah Jazz, but I don't know that his son is going to be doing a good job. And so how I think that nepotism works is that nepotism is supposed to work in a way where a person is qualified. It's just that they're beating out a more qualified person. To me, what's atrocious and what's so alarming about LeBron and Bronny James is the fact that Bronny's not just in the NBA. I mean, he's on the Lakers. So there's going to be a whole spotlight there, right? There's a spotlight when you play for the Lakers. And, you know, it's supposed to be a really coveted roster spot. You don't just give it to anybody. Have the Lakers done this before? They have. Luke Walton had no business being on the Lakers either. He was there. Not only was he there, but he was also a coach. And, you know, this is something that the Lakers do. I don't support it. I do think that it's wrong. I think that Luke Walton was also better than Bronny. So, you know, I'm not even so mad at them for the Luke Walton as I am Bronny James because he's just that unqualified. He looks like a deer in headlights on the court. He fumbles the ball literally like an open court. He can't shoot. It's just awful, guys. It really, really is. And I think that, you know, when we think about Bronny potentially starting, getting serious minutes in the rotation, when the team hasn't even announced anything about Dalton Connect's minutes. How do you take minutes out of Dalton Connect's? Like, how do you take away minutes from a first-round pick to give them to Bronny? I'm confused. It's one thing, okay, you have him at the end of the Lakers bench. You have him there taking up a roster spot that could have gone to somebody else. But you're like, we're really serious about this. We're really serious about giving Bronny like big minutes when you have Dalton Connect there. This is an issue. I don't know if they're trying to chase Luka out. Like, I don't know what's going on. Are they trying to chase Luka out? Because that would make sense to me if that's what they were trying to do. I mean, what do you guys think? Are Rob Parker's comments, are they valid? Do you guys see validity in Rob Parker's comments? Let's see. What are you guys saying? You guys are crazy. You guys are absolutely crazy. We don't live in a kingdom. Hurler. They did Quincy so dirty. Crazy. Crazy work. To me, something else that Rob Parker said, and I don't want to forget about this, is that not Rob Parker, but Kelvin Washington. And I'm so tired of him. Honestly, I cannot stand Kelvin Washington. I think that he's really rude to Rob Parker, and I think he should be fired. I think that he interrupts him. I think that he's just acts like, a baby LeBron fan, like, a crybaby. Oh, you're going to just keep yelling? I'll let you just yell. And mind you, like, he's always yelling and always talking over Rob Parker. But the minute it gets a little spicy, you're going to yell? What a baby. Honestly, I really miss Chris Broussard working with Rob Parker. I do not like this duo. I really don't. It's not even entertaining to me. And that's just, really how I feel. Kelvin Washington is insufferable. They need to get rid of him and bring somebody else. And I'm not saying that just because he is like, really into LeBron. I'm saying that because you can be into LeBron, and I need somebody else. I need some more balance on that show. I thought it was really good before, and it's lost its luster for me. But you can't pass athletic success down. You can't. The 55th pick not being important is also ridiculous. It just goes to show the lack of competition in today's league. It also goes to show that there's no appreciation for the NBA and the league. When you put people in the league that are not qualified, that can't play, that's a problem. Are there guys in the league that can't play because they were just brought from some country and they were drafted on potential? For sure. For sure we see that. But I don't see Bronny's potential. And he's still yet to prove himself. I'm tired of hearing about his age. He's just not an NBA player. Put him in the G League where he belongs, if he even belongs there. But he's not good, and he's certainly not good enough to be in a starting lineup or to have, serious rotational minutes. Bronny James continues to wear an NBA costume. He continues to snatch purses. Literally, it's like highway robbery. I'm surprised. Like, we might just see Bronny with a ski mask on this upcoming season. Whose starting spot is he going to steal? Whose rotational minutes is he taking from? Is Austin Reeves going to lose minutes? What happens here? It's pretty crazy. But I do want to talk about the playoffs. I want to move along to OKC versus the Pacers. I'm really excited to talk about this series because it's just been a really good series. And throughout the playoffs, what we've seen are a lot of upsets. It almost feels like March Madness, where you don't know who's going to win the series. You don't know what's going to happen. It feels really good to see some parity in the league. It feels really good to see teams that are playing team basketball be in the position of being in the finals. That is what's truly exciting for me. And, we are going to jump right into the last game. Obviously, Pacers, they lost game 2. Halliburton was a dud in that game. I think he scored, what was it, 5 points, 8 points, something like that. He didn't play very well. But game 3, OKC collapsed. And it feels like they are jittery. It feels like they're not really ready for this moment of being in the finals. I like their coach. I think he's cute, but he seems a little arrogant and overly confident. And they're making different adjustments, and it seems like they can't handle or sustain their own adjustments. They went from being this team that had all this depth and scoring and on the bench, and it's not translating in the finals right now. It's not. Charles Barkley talked about how they're changing up their strategy and how he's not really seeing them be the confident OKC that they were during the regular season. And I'd have to agree with that. But Kendrick Perkins spoke about Halliburton, and, there has been a whole debate about him being a superstar. We're not even going to get into that tonight. But, I have sound bites surrounding the game, and really, we're just going to break it down. I mean, when we take a look at the team stats and you see that Williams was the top scorer for OKC. I mean, it wasn't SGA. I think he came in at 24 points, but Williams sort of, he wasn't that efficient throughout the series, but he played probably his best game in the series so far. Then you have Mathurin for the Pacers, highest scorer, 27 points. This was the Mathurin game. He came up big for them in the fourth quarter as well. So that was really great to see. Super excited for, him to just sort of show what he has. And it really proves that the Pacers they're not reliant on Halliburton. So the idea that he's not a superstar, I think is quite accurate. Like, I don't have any problem with them saying he's not a superstar. I'm fine with that. But when you take a look at what the Pacers and OKC did, Pacers got up 85 shots versus the Thunder 79. Pacers they shot better from the floor. They made 44 of those shots. Shot 51% from the field. They didn't shoot as well from three-point land. But it's not always about how many shots you make. It's about when you make them. And so, again, Pacers made more timely shots. They shot 9 of 27 from behind the arc, and Thunder shot 10 of 22 from behind the arc. When you take a look at what they did from the free throw line, Thunder, they had 7 more attempts, and they missed 7 shots. Pacers hit almost every free throw. They were 86% from the line, and Thunder were 76%. They've got to make those free throws. They have to. I saw Shea miss a free throw down the stretch. You got to make those. It's a non-negotiable. Thunder out-rebounded the Pacers, but they didn't assist the ball very well. Halliburton had, I think, 12 assists just coming out of the first half. They stole the ball. The Pacers played better defense in this game as well. They caused and they forced the Thunder to have 19 turnovers in this game. And they scored. They scored 21 points off of their turnovers. So they were able to capitalize, whereas, the Thunder, they capitalized off of the Pacers' turnovers, but they only scored 14 points. And they only forced 14 turnovers. They didn't get killed in the paint. That's the Thunder's bread and butter. So, the Pacers only scored 2 more points in the paint. But this game was close. This was a winnable game. It wasn't like the Pacers were just, I don't know. It wasn't like they were just, dragging this whole game and then they came back. That wasn't the case. It was a close game, but it was a winnable game for the Thunder. I think it was a must-win game for the Thunder. And they didn't pull it off. And now they're down in the series 2-1. So, the Thunder are going to come back. When we go ahead and we take a look at the box score of this game and we take a look at what the Pacers did, it was really what their bench did. You take a look at the bench, Benedict Mathurin went off for 27 points. TJ McConnell added another 10. And it's so funny because the media is so like funny that way, as they were praising TJ McConnell. And yes, he had a lot of great hustle plays. I mean, he shows up on the court and he's ready to rock and roll. So I appreciate TJ McConnell. But the guy who should have been celebrated the most was Mathurin. And I just don't think that the media gave him his flowers properly. They talked a lot about McConnell, and I just think that it was a little too much praise for a 10-point game. Like, calm down. Okay? Siakam came up big. Halliburton scored 22. And what was great is that Halliburton, he did outscore SGA in the fourth quarter. They both only made one shot, but Halliburton made a 3 and SGA made a 2 close to the basket. So when we take a look and, look at who had the turnovers. So it was Miles Turner. He had 5. I'm sorry. No, it wasn't Miles Turner. It was Halliburton with 4 turnovers. But again, it wasn't, they stayed in the game. They had a lot of heart, a lot of confidence. And that's what you need when you're playing in the finals. They have the coaching to back it up. When we take a look at what OKC did in their box score, their bench delivered nothing. Absolutely nothing. Nothing. You can't win like this when you're playing against a Pacers team whose bench is delivering, whose coach is just poised throughout the whole thing. And they're playing their game and they're sticking to their strategy. Whereas OKC, you can see them switching it up from the from the second half to the first half. And that's what you have to do if you're worried about not winning, but you've got to be confident in those game plans. And I'm just not sure that they are right now. So I hope that they can find themselves and get back in this series for game 4. I'd love to see SGA win, but honestly, I don't have a dog in this fight. I just want to see the best team win. Everybody's saying OKC is the best team, but that's not what I know to be true. What I'm looking at are 2 teams that can compete. And I love what I'm seeing personally. But when we take a look at where OKC lost this game, it was definitely in the fourth quarter. OKC lost the game in the fourth quarter. Look at all these shots that the Pacers made. They didn't hit a shot from behind the arc. That's what really killed them. They couldn't buy a 3. They took 4 of them, could not make them. They couldn't even get shots close to the basket. They missed a lot of floaters. And, quite frankly, the Pacers put up more shots and they made more shots. They got 9 points right out of three-point land. So they pretty much got blown out in the second quarter as well as the fourth quarter. And that's what made them lose this game. And like I said, Halliburton made a 3 in the fourth quarter, timely fourth quarter shot. SGA just didn't. He didn't make his shots. He didn't make enough shots. And so Kendrick Perkins, he speaks about Halliburton, and actually the Odd Couple also had a bit to say about it. They're comparing the Pacers and they're comparing OKC to Mike Tyson. And I want you guys to listen to this sound and we'll react from that.
We know game 3, obviously the Pacers able to get the job done, win a big one. And I told you earlier, stat, man, 80% of the teams that win game 3 go on to win the NBA Finals. So that's a crazy stat, and obviously in favor of the Pacers. But is what made this playoff so crazy and wild is that so many things that don't make sense continue to happen. And the Thunder are looking to now go 6-0 after a loss. They're 5-0 right now. You got the Pacers who've been 5-0 after a loss. So that's why we're sitting here 2-1. But when I look at this series, Rob, and one of the things that we were worried about that I was keeping an eye on going into this was the Thunder have the biggest point differential all season. They're blowing everybody out by an average of, 12 points a game, 12, 13 points a game. That is crazy. They've beaten people by double digits in 61 games. They're just demolishing everybody. We know what the defense has done, a historical defense as well. So they've gotten used to blowing people out. They've got used to going with massive double-digit leads in the fourth quarter. They've got used to the game being out of hand for them early. And what I wanted to keep an eye on was when things got a little tight, when games got a little closer, how would they fare? And what's made it interesting is they're doing it against a team who has been the most clutch in clutch games. 9-1 are the Pacers in clutch games. Games are within a handful of points in the final minutes of a game. The Pacers, we know what they're doing. Tyrese Halliburton has made all of the clutch shots. He's 4 for 4 with under 2 seconds. So you got a team who blows everybody out going up against a team who has been uber clutch. And I think what we're seeing is the Oklahoma City Thunder being Mike Tyson. That run he had in the mid and late 80s. I'm knocking everybody out. Soon as the bell ring, bing, bing, bop, bop, boo, bop, 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 bam, boo, knocking them out. And this is what I do. And all of a sudden, things get a little tight for Mike Tyson when he has to go into those championship rounds, or in the NBA version, the fourth quarter. And I think that's what we're starting to see. If I can knock you out, I'm good. If I can knock you out with this uppercut, this right hook, I'm good. That's the Thunder. But when things get tight, we got to go in those championship rounds, and I got to joust it out, and I got to box you through the fourth quarter. I might have to switch the game plan. I might have to switch to southpaw. I don't know that the Thunder have had to do that a lot, and I think they clinch up a little bit. They had a bunch of turnovers. They had 5 turnovers, and their shots got blocked 5 times, 3 of them from a 7-footer, and Chet Holmgren got his shot blocked 3 times. So I think what we have witnessed is them trying to figure it out in the fourth quarter, and I don't know if they had to do that a lot. And so I think we're seeing them be tight and try to figure this out, where the Pacers, this is what they've done all postseason long. We have been in it. We've come back from 15 points plenty of times. We've made clutch shots. Tyrese Halliburton has made a whole career of it in one postseason. And I think that's what we're witnessing. A team that if they hit you with the knockout blow, this is what they do. But when the knockout blow doesn't work, they don't know what to do and how to close the game.
Well, you should be afraid if you're a Thunder fan, because this is that part that you talk about where now you might face these moments and situations and you can't close them out. And that could be the reason that they lose, because they weren't able to close out game 1. Game 1, you'll look back. I'm telling you, a loss like that where you're leading all the way up until 0.3, not 3 seconds.
3 seconds.
0.3. Like almost no time left to put up a shot. Almost, do you know what I mean? Like when you think back to that, you go, oh my God, how in the world did we lose that game? They would be right where they're supposed to be right if they won that game.
2-1, nobody,
Indiana wins,
Raji expecting a sweep.
Right. Indiana won the first game at home. Okay, you win game 4, and then you go back home and you win game 5. See, that's we ain't there no more. Right. Anybody who thinks that we're in the same place as when this thing first started, no way. And not after the way the Pacers played in game 3. You hear even Eddie House was talking about it. He don't sound as confident. Am I right?
Man, oh man. When I think about the OKC series versus the Pacers, I just go back to the fact that I just don't know that they're ready for the moment. I didn't think that the Oklahoma City Thunder were going to make it out of the second round, because oftentimes what we see in the regular season doesn't translate in the finals. And I think I saw a comment that, was James, OKC isn't that young. They're all mid-20s. They're not that young. So they're not young in age, but they're young in as far as playoff experience is concerned. They've never been here before. They've never been to the finals. And yeah, they should be ready. They've been preparing themselves. They have a team that's built to be in the finals and to compete. But OKC is one of those teams that's not, they don't build themselves to win titles. They build themselves to stay competitive. So it makes perfect sense that they're not ready for this moment. And their coach is sort of flailing in a way. SGA is, not coming up as big as we want him to in the fourth quarter. They're attacking him, and he's not handling that. I mean, I think he had, what did he have? 3 fourth quarter points or something like that. I'm sorry, 2 points in the fourth quarter. That's not gonna do it when you're the guy and you need to win and the game is on the line and the finals, are so important. I don't want to be right, because I would like to see the best team win. OKC is supposed to be the best team, so I don't want to be right about them. It just feels like they don't really have, and they're not ready. They're just not ready for this moment. The lights are too bright. Halliburton, the Pacers, poised, confident, ready. Carlisle, poker face. The coach from, OKC, super cute. I like him, but again, he doesn't seem to have that, just this relentless kind of poker face the way that Carlisle has. So I'm curious to see what's going to happen in this series. I'm kind of like at the edge of my seat. I'm going to be traveling, watching the game on my phone, and I'm ready for it. Kendrick Perkins, he talked about Halliburton. He talked about the series and just how he feels about Halliburton's performance, how he's finally arrived, stepped into his role. I don't know if that's how I see it. I'm just going to be really frank with you. I think they're playing really great team basketball. Halliburton is a leader, but I think there's multiple leaders on the Pacers team. I really do. I think that Halliburton is the face of the Pacers, but again, I don't see superstardom in him. So I want you guys to hear what Kendrick Perkins had to say, and we'll react.
Go ahead. Go ahead. I mean, the elephant in the room is, or in the arena, was Tyrese Halliburton. right? He finally arrived to the NBA Finals. To us box score watchers, right? Yeah, I'm watching the box score when it comes down to you. The first game in this series that he actually outplayed SGA. He outplayed SGA, and I thought that was the thing for me. Being aggressive is one thing going downhill, but I thought it opened up so much. They didn't know how to play him. They didn't know if they were going to trap. They didn't know if they were going to set, go under the screen. And Rick Carlisle, shame on you.
Tricky.
He lied to us. He lied to us, but I wasn't fooled by that after what he said in game 2 in the post-game interview. You remember he said, oh, yeah, SGA, you could pencil him in for 34. He was lying his ass off. He got the hell out of him, didn't he? In game 3, great overall physicality, but Tyrese Halliburton, I got to give him his flowers.
But if I would have said to you guys before this series started, hey, Benedict Mathurin is going to be the first player to 20 points for this Indiana Pacers team, and they're going to be up 2-1, what would you have said to me?
I would have said, hell yeah. I picked him yesterday.
He knew.
I said Benedict and I'm going to tell you something. I'm with you, Perk. I don't know what's going on in Canada. I don't know what's in the middle.
Got something.
I don't know what's going on in Canada.
But
this is the guy who we've been looking for. He was their third leading scorer through the regular season, and people forgot about him. Yesterday, he got going from all 3 levels. He was able to hit the 3. And I'm telling you, when you're a scorer and you're struggling, an easy bucket by TJ McConnell just to get you a layup means all the difference. And I think that really helped catapult him yesterday. And his mom and his sister came to the game together.
Clearly, this was a very comfortable team back at home. They know these Nets. Defensively, it was the best showing we've seen on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, I think, so far in this series.
100%. It's like Perk and UD was saying, they switched up their coverage defensively. They've trapped him some, they corralled him, and the others showed up on the bench and started with Mathurin. But if you would have said Mathurin would have been leading scorer, I would have said you're crazy. I'd have been but it just goes to show how deep this team is. It's so good. They have night in, night out. It could be Obi Toppin, it could be Neesmith, it could be TJ McConnell, it could be Mathurin. They have so many guys that can score from the multitude of levels that they don't need Tyrese Halliburton to have 30 every night for them to win.
Well, but that goes to show you how deep both of these squads are, because all the Pacers did was get their lick back at the crib. So we saw Ben go for 27, but we also had Aaron Wiggins who went for 20 at home in game 2.
And Alex Caruso.
Yeah, and Alex Caruso. So, I mean, it just goes to show you the depth of both of these squads. Coming in the series, I didn't have Ben or Aaron Wiggins on my bingo card.
Yeah, I didn't know what that would. What do you think? Let's take a listen to the other side of all of this, because this was a little bit of a flat performance from the Oklahoma City Thunder, but that's something that we've come to know that they do here in these game 3s. Here's what they had to say.
How much did you feel like those body blows made fatigue a factor? How can you mitigate that and try to fight through it, figuring they're going to take a similar approach?
Yeah, you got to suck it up. You have to. There's a maximum 4 games left in the season, and it's what you work the whole season for. It's what you work all summer for. So the way I see it is you got to suck it up, get it done, and try to get a win.
So the Thunder were up 5 heading into the fourth quarter. After they went on that run with SGA off of the floor. And I was kind of thinking, uh-oh.
Yeah.
But these are the games that behoove the Indiana Pacers, those tight games here, Perk. Do you think this is a missed opportunity for OKC?
Absolutely not. They should be confident after this game. Think about, game 3 in the Denver series, games 3 in the Minnesota. They got smoked and stomped out. They were actually in this game. And a few mistakes on their side. See, the Thunder, this team is a team of film, right? Like, they go back and they watch film and they could adjust. The great thing about it, they had mistakes throughout this game that they actually can control, right? Like, we saw those turnovers in the inbounds, like, you could control it, right? We saw SGA getting trapped in the screens trying to make these cross-court passes. You could control it. Jalen Williams, it's non-SGA minutes when you had a ball in your hands and you're trying to drive down the paint. You can control it, because now you can see on film, hey, when they're playing you like this guy's open, this guy's open, that guy's open. So they have things that they control. They should not feel like they have a missed opportunity. They came down.
I think Kendrick Perkins really, wants the Oklahoma City Thunder to win. That's what I believe. I think it was hard for him to talk about Halliburton cooking. I think it was hard for him to really kind of, back down on his original take. So, salute to Kendrick Perkins for giving Tyrese Halliburton his flowers. He did come out more aggressive in this game, and I don't think that he lacks aggression. I just think he's not always as good as he should be every game. He's not consistently exploding for points. He's not consistently, like, his shots don't consistently fall. He might not always get off a shot. Halliburton is a point guard. He's a true point guard. I don't believe in him being a scoring point guard. He will score when he has to score, but he is looking for, who has the best shot to take on the floor, whether it's himself or somebody else on his team. So, I don't know. The Pacers could be the little engine that could. They could be the team that nobody was expecting to win, and they just turn around and win the title. You see Caitlin Clark in the stands. I think that the writing's on the wall. I think this year, Indiana Pacers could take the title, and so could the Indiana Fever. I think that that's kind of like the story that the NBA and WNBA are cooking up this year. I don't know if that's actually going to happen, but it would be interesting, right? It would be kind of like a cool twist. So what do you guys think? I am going to open the phone lines up, and, I want to hear from you guys. So what do you guys think? Do you think that game 4, tonight's game, is going to decide the series? Do you think that OKC is going to come out flat and lose this game? If they go down 3-1, it's over. Kelvin Washington seems to think that game 3 decides the series. That it used to be game 5. And so it's just so funny how the talking heads, the media, they just decide, they change things. And I think that it's not about game 3, game 4, game 5. I think that history, data is something to take a look at. So if you're basing that off data, I'm fine with it. But I just think every series is different. And once you go down in a series period, you're working at a deficit, and it's going to be hard to come back no matter what. And you're in the finals. So they have to pull everything. They have to dig deep in the bottom of their soul to come out and win this series. That's what they have to do. So, guys, call in, talk to me nice. I want to hear from you. What do you guys think? And we can talk about really, any topic, but I do have to jet. So it's going to be a minute or less on the phone. I can't Jones because I have to run. I have to get on with my travel and get going. So I do want to hear from you guys. Certainly call in, talk to me nice. What do you think? Is this game going to be decided in game 4? Do you want to talk about Rob Parker or his comments? Are they valid about Bronny James? Is Bronny James still wearing the NBA costume? Do you want to call in and talk about Mind the Game? Is that bubble title impressive? Does the LeMickey ring even count? And does LeBron James have a bag? Call in. Whatever your heart desires, you call in, talk to me nice, and tell me what you think. If nobody feels like calling in, I totally get it. I know some people are still at work, but while I'm waiting for you guys to call in, what I do want to do is read this super chat that came through, and it was from Yazid Yair Bey. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. If LeBagless wife very left him, he can for sure do a pop the balloon with his fanboys. Ooh, wow. You guys crack me up. Honestly, you guys are crazy. But let's get these likes up, guys. We have 126 people watching. We should have 126 likes. Like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and share the video. Like, that's really important that you share out the video because we need to grow the sports tea community. We really do. Looks like we have our first caller of the afternoon. Thank you for calling Sports Tea. Talk to me nice.
Peace, Dom. It's Brother Juma.
Hey, Brother Juma. How's it going?
I'm always well, black, blessed, and living in abundance.
That's right. I love it. I love to hear it.
Yes, I want to give you a shout out for I didn't know for your showversary. So congrats on it. Is it a year now? 2 years?
So I think it'll be a year on July 30th. That's the anniversary of Sports Tea. So I'm really excited. I do want to, try to create some cute t-shirts with the Sports Tea logo on it for the 1 year anniversary, and maybe do something cool for the members as well.
Nice.
But
They
thank you
deserve
so
it.
much for the shout out. I appreciate you. What's on your heart? What's on your mind today?
I've been watching a lot of stuff going on with LeBron, and I'm not trying to bash on him or anything. You guys, that it just is what it is. But the mind the game with the bag stuff is just ridiculous. Like, it's just ridiculous. Like, you can see that Steve Nash is like, he's in his eyes. He's sitting here saying like, this guy's full of crap. He's trying to smile it off. He doesn't decline in everything he says. No pushback at all. Just whatever he says is 100%. LeBron just spews out that nonsense, and he's obviously looking for a job, or there's some type of back end he's getting off of this behind Clutch Sports. We'll just wait and see what he gets, an assistant position or some type of, I don't know, something in the NBA. But about the bag, like, we all know, if you're not playing by yourself, and you just have one homie, It's one-on-one. How do you get to the rim? Okay, when you're younger, you don't have a great jumper, so the closer you are to the basket, that's basically where you're trying to go. It's not rocket science. You know what I mean? If you don't have a jab step, if you don't have a head fake, you know, you're trying to cross over behind the back, a spin move. You're getting to a high percentage shot, which is closer to the rim. And it's a shame that he doesn't have a bag, because that's all everyone knows that's all he does. He shoots inside. All of his points are coming. His billion points came from 3 to 5 feet. You know, everything else is straight bricks. So he doesn't play one-on-one. He knows he can't play one-on-one. That's the new narrative. Everyone's talking about how he can't play one-on-one. Everyone's coming out calling him out, saying he doesn't play one-on-one. They beat him 30 times, 20 times. I never lose. All these different guys, Beasley, Wade, Melo, everyone is saying that he can't play one-on-one. So now he has to, you know, bring out the lies and start trying to lie about him, you know, not needing a bag. Like one-on-one isn't real basketball. You know, what's his name? Doncic knows what a bag is. He's fronting because, you know, his boss, LeBron, told him to go up there with his arms, he basically has his arms crossed and keeping his mouth shut. But he knows what a bag is. You know, the Europeans watch us, and that's where they get their skill set. They're extremely developed. You know, LeBron, they try to compare LeBron and Doncic. Doncic has a bag. LeBron doesn't. There's no comparison. You know, it's embarrassing that they even do that. So I'm not going to, you know, keep, you know, bitching on and whatnot and complaining. But it's just, I just can't. There's going to be more people watching the first day that MJ comes to the NBA for his commentary than there's ever been, I think, in a LeBron James finals. I really believe that there's going to be the ratings are going to be off the charts. You know what I mean? And I'm here for it. I can't wait.
I don't blame you, Brother Juma. Quite frankly, I mean, it's just people don't want to watch LeBron James in the finals anymore. They just don't.
No, it's not entertaining. It's joke basketball.
Certainly a joke.
You know, I don't understand how. With anything, if you do anything for 20 years, you should be able to, I'm not going to say be a master, but you should be an expert. Anything for 20 years. You know, dominoes, you know, your job, I mean, jacks, jump rope, anything you do for 20 years, if you take it seriously, you should be a professional, like a savant, an expert, maybe not a master, but he just has no game. You know, Ray Allen made it simple. No dribble. Who's the best dribbler? Who's the best shooter? Mid-range, free throws. This guy's airborne free throws, hitting the side of the rim. You know, has to have a pick. Come on, he never crosses nobody over. Let's just keep on honest. The guy's a scrub. You know what I mean? The real talk. He's a scrub. And if you never would have put on 23, if you never would have tried to make Space Jam, if you never would have said he was the GOAT, he wouldn't have all these problems. But he basically, him and his squad, you know, how the old school saying, he wrote it. What did he say? He wrote a check that his ass can't cash. That his bag can't cash.
I mean,
you
it's
know,
true. It's really true.
It's just that simple. About him, his son, everything. If he would just kept his mouth shut, he would have been a great player. We would have admired him. But he's done too much. He doesn't know when to leave. Now they got to get LeBron out of here. And this is my last thing I'm going to say. Real talk, I believe this. He sat there and talked about how he's sitting here, you know, going on these different shows, talking trash about the NBA, like the company he works for. You know, saying that how, you know, implying that they were colluding when it came to the draft picks and stuff. And for him to say stuff like that, to bite the hand that feeds him, they've had enough of him. He should have enough common sense to keep his mouth shut. You know what I mean? And just go along with the game. But he is so delusional and narcissistic. It's crazy to see that. How are you going to bite the hand that feeds you? You don't talk about your employers. So I think they've had enough of him, and they're quietly doing what he does. I think they're silently with LeBron, with MJ coming, with Dumars changing the game up, whatnot. Yeah. I think they're pushing him out, and he doesn't even know it. He doesn't even know it. The lights in the party are off. The DJ has left. You know what I mean? The bar has closed. You know what I mean? And he's sitting up in here. You know what I mean? Trying to parking lot pimp.
I love it. Parking lot pimping.
You know, ladies have left the room.
Poor LeBron. I'm with you, Brother Juma. Great take, great call. Is there anything
Yes,
else
ma'am.
that you wanted to share before we jump? Actually, Miguel, it seems like Miguel is calling in. Let me take his call. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
for
let him
calling
get it in.
All
Let him
righty.
get it in. I appreciate you. Keep doing what you're doing.
All righty. Bless you.
Much respect.
Hello. Thank you for calling Sports Tea. Talk to me nice. Hi, can you hear us?
Hey, this is Miguel.
Hey, Miguel. Thanks for calling Sports Tea. Talk to me nice. How are you doing today?
Yeah, I don't appreciate the last guy saying let me get it in, but I appreciate you answering my phone call.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you very well.
I'm sorry. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Miguel. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Fantastic.
I got a new phone. I just
So
need to run.
what do you want to talk about? So we have 4 topics. Did you want to cook on OKC versus the Pacers? Were you interested in LeBron's bubble comments or his bag comments, or Rob Parker going scorched earth about, Bronny, getting those rotational minutes? What do you want to talk about?
Let's talk about LeBron's bitch ass.
Go for it.
So the thing about him, having a bag or whatnot, I think that's not even people who are talking about that. They're missing the point, because you can tell the way he plays, he's not giving any effort. He's not hustling, so you're going to get the results of somebody that doesn't even try. And then they walk out early on games. How can we say, he's not even trying to shoot good. He's not even trying to practice. His practice is when he sees a couple white girls, he takes his shirt off and tries to dunk. That's nothing new. You know what I'm saying? So when you talk about him having a bag, he's not even giving himself a chance to have a bag, because he's already checked out. The way he plays is the way my little cousin plays NBA 2K on easy. You get the best players, you face into the basket, right? You hit turbo, you run towards the basket, hit shoot, and there's going to be some sort of animation where, Kobe Bryant dunks the ball or whatever. And so he's doing that in real life, but it's not working. It doesn't work like that. He's constantly losing the ball, turning the ball over, getting blocked. When he was younger, he at least would post up and have a move or two. When he was younger, he at least would have some good assists. We're not seeing that anymore. So to say and have a discussion about his bag or lack thereof is, again, missing the point. He's not even trying. He's not hustling. He's not giving the effort. So let's just stop with that, And if he's an old man or not, I don't care. You're a professional. It doesn't mean you've been playing for 20 years, so therefore you have some sort of seniority or automatic, give the benefit of the doubt every single time. If you really watch the game over the years, you see that the way that the refs treat him, he's gifted points left and right with free throws, or just dunking the ball, which is really all he ever could do. He's the Dominique Wilkins of today, only he's not a badass. His image is not a badass. Dominique Wilkins was a motherfucking man. LeBron James is constantly crying, bailing out on his team over and over. So I just want to say, this whole talk about his bag, it's besides the point. We're not talking about the right thing,
I'm actually with you. I think it's a distraction.
Yeah. It's a disgrace is what it is. If you really honor the sport and you really appreciate it, the history and you love the game, you can see the way he's treating it. And two, you should be offended the way he's tarnishing the legacy of the Los Angeles Lakers, one of the greatest teams of all time. And look what he's doing to them. But whatever. He's backed by Clutch Sports. He's backed by ESPN, which means he's backed by Disney. So there's some sort of agenda.
There's backdoor memos being passed around. There's agendas saying we're going to go forward with this. You know, when the guy was drafted 20-something years ago, you know, they needed a new Michael Jordan. And the only thing that you can think of is the way, like, how some business people think of it. And that's, ask yourself, how am I going to eat an elephant? That sounds ridiculous, right? But how do you eat an elephant? And that's one bite at a time. So since day one, bite after bite after bite. And after 22 years, this is what we've got. And you do that to him or anybody else, they're going to have an inflated ego, you know? And, you know, he wants to sit here and talk about the bubble. Okay, fine. Let's talk about the Olympics. Where was your leadership then? You know, I've called in before, and I said it before, it's only a matter of time before people start coming out and saying, what the hell happened? Like, what was that all about? Why was Steph Curry held back? Why were they holding back Kevin Durant? The reasons that they give us, I don't believe. Why were they there if that's what they said was going on? It doesn't make sense to me. You know, he wants to be Mr. Olympic. Okay, fine. They crowned him on day one, the inauguration or the first day of the Olympics. You know, he was already Mr. Olympia. But when it came time to take care of the rest of USA, where was he? Top floor, penthouse, eating steak. Meanwhile, the swim team is looking at worms in the salad. Let's talk about that. Where were you then, LeBron? So, that was just me. I'm sorry. Usually, damn. I just wanted to bitch about that for me.
It's okay. I really appreciate you calling in, Miguel. Thank you so much. I think everything that you said, talking about LeBron James being a crybaby, crying all the time, I mean, that's nobody that anybody should want to follow, right?
Right.
I don't think anybody's copying LeBron James's game. He has no bag and nobody's copying him besides maybe like Giannis Antetokounmpo. That's it. It's not so hard to copy, you know, running down the court and bum rushing the lane and running over defenders. You know, that's what Giannis is copying from LeBron. And I don't know that he's copying it from him. I just think it's a very simple thing to do. So it's oftentimes what, you know, people do when they're bigger, stronger, faster in high school. So, you know, again, and LeBron James never went to college, and we see that in his game. So thank you so much, Miguel, for calling in. I really appreciate you. And yeah, I hope you continue to have a wonderful Friday. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Sorry, I ran out of breath. Have a good night.
No, thank you. You have a good night as well. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, guys, I really think that this is a good point to end the live. I want to thank you all for showing up. Really great to connect with you all again, and I'll be back in a day or two. I definitely am going to recap tonight's game at some point. And you know, I really this season has been just so interesting for a number of reasons, and I can't wait to, you know, to see who is going to win this series. I mean, I'm at the edge of my seat waiting to see. And I mean, I'm curious, do you guys think that game 4 is going to decide the series? Because it's interesting. Stephen A thinks that whoever wins game 4 wins the series. Kelvin Washington thinks that the Pacers will win because they won game 3. I don't know who's going to win. I'm not tied to either team winning. I'm really not. I think that it would be a travesty. I think it would be devastating for OKC to lose. It's an upset if they lose because they're considered the best team. But I don't know. The Pacers are coming for them. It's going to be very, very interesting. Do you guys think that game 4 is going to decide the series, though? I'm curious to know. I do want to read the last super chat that came through. Thank you so much, and salute to you, Sports Facts, for the $4.99 super chat. In the 80s and 90s, LeBron is a low-budget Jamal Mashburn with hops. Oof. You guys, man, no chill at all. Love it. Thank you so much, Sports Facts, for the $4.99 super chat, and thank you for that comment. You guys are incredible. Do me a favor before we head out. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, share Sports Tea, share the network. Share the channel with your network of people. your family, your friends. Let everybody know how great the content is so that we can make the community much bigger. Thank you all for joining, and I will see you soon. Enjoy tonight's game. I'm going to be watching on my phone, so have lots of fun. And yeah, I'll see you guys soon. Have a good one. Bye-bye.